Here's your news for January 30th, 2020. We're starting off today with news from NXT as the 2020 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic has ended. In a back-and-forth match between the Broserweights and NXT UK's grizzled young veterans, it was ultimately Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne who got the win thanks to a series of moonsaults and their combo finisher. Not only do Riddle and Dunne have the prestige of being the Dusty Classic winners, but they will also face the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team titles next month at NXT TakeOver Portland. Speaking of Matt Riddle, WWE Champion Brock Lesnar had some strong words for the original bro when they were both backstage at the Royal Rumble. Though the Beast told the NXT superstar to stop tagging him on social media, saying a match between them wasn't going to happen, that hasn't stopped Riddle. And now the WWE Performance Center has put out a video where the King of Bros discussed his desire to face the Beast. Taking place after Riddle's elimination from the Royal Rumble, the former MMA fighter said, I really wanted to get my hands on Brock. I saw him throwing everyone around. I don't care what he says or what anyone else says. I don't care if he wants the match or not. I'm gonna get it. I don't care, it's not up to him. I don't like being told no, especially when I work as hard as I do. Trust me, I guarantee you I will get my hands on him and I will make that match happen and I'll take his career. I promise. Whether Riddle gets his match against the Beast or not remains to be seen, but for now, the King of Bros is promising that it will happen one day. More news from the Royal Rumble, as after 30 entrants and 29 eliminations, it was Drew McIntyre who stood alone as the men's Rumble match winner. Since then, the Scotsman has been the talk of the wrestling community, but WWE were able to catch Drew immediately after his Rumble victory. In a sneak peek of an upcoming episode of WWE Chronicles set to be released in April, the former NXT champion can be seen entering the gorilla position and being hugged by none other than Vince McMahon. Thanking the boss for the opportunity to main event WrestleMania, it was a surprisingly quiet moment between the two, in a rather chaotic surrounding, as the boss simply told McIntyre, it's go time. Fans will be able to check out the entire chronicle about McIntyre's career and life on April 4th following NXT TakeOver Tampa, and just one day before the Scotsman hopes to become WWE Champion at WrestleMania. Since his Rumble win, McIntyre has been a busy man, and part of his busy schedule included appearing on the latest edition of WWE's The Bump. Speaking about his future WrestleMania opponent, Drew said he didn't have an issue with Lesnar's contract as a part-time star, but draws the line when the WWE title is being held hostage. He said, Brock was offered his contract to do what he wants. He wasn't forced to sign it. He signed a contract and he's living up to his terms of the contract. I can't get annoyed about that. I understand why people get annoyed about it. The problem I have is he has our title and I've been on the TV, all the live events, and we need that title on there. When describing the moment he eliminated the Beast from the men's Rumble match, McIntyre claimed that even if Brock can beat 99% of the roster, Drew knows he can beat the Beast. He said, I knew when I looked in his eyes when he was lying on that floor. He looked at me and said, this guy's different. I can see it in his eyes. I'm just as big, I'm just as fast, but I've got the experience. I've been around a long time, and I see areas in his game I would capitalize on. The interview wasn't all about Drew and Brock though, as the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble winner also gave a shout out to Jinder Mahal, his former 3MB bandmate, who last wrestled in June 2019. After suffering a ruptured patella tendon, the former WWE, United States, and 24/7 champion has been gone for a while, but McIntyre commented on his former tag team partner, saying, he came back and made himself WWE champion, and he's so driven right now. He's about to come back, and you're going to see a whole new Jinder Mahal as well. You saw the new Drew McIntyre win the Rumble, wait till you see the new Jinder Mahal that's coming back. It should be noted that the modern-day Maharaja has been teasing a return on Instagram for a while now, and maybe fans could see a WWE Championship feud between McIntyre and Mahal in the coming months. McIntyre wasn't the only big name on the bump this week, as the show also hosted Bully Ray, who had plenty to say about the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. While speaking on the men's Rumble match, the Dudley Boyz member gave special props to Keith Lee, who impressed during the match. He said, the look Brock Lesnar had with Drew was awesome, but you know what I loved more? The look with Keith Lee. When Keith Lee walked in the ring, what did you see Brock Lesnar do? He stepped back. How often do you see Brock Lesnar step backwards? You don't. So Brock said to Paul, "Who the hell is this guy?" As he's saying, "Who the hell is this guy?" he's taking a couple of steps backwards, and boom, I know that Keith Lee is the man right at that moment. The new NXT North American champion has had an incredible time as of late, and with a WWE Hall of Famer on his side, the sky's the limit for the limitless one. Though fans can expect big things for the NXT North American champion, one title holder they won't be seeing anytime soon is United States champion Andrade, who is serving a 30-day sentence for his first violation of the wellness policy. On Instagram, the US champion posted a cryptic message telling his fans to never quit when things get tough, and to remember where you come from and where you're going. It's not exactly an admission of guilt or an apology, but it seems to be an indication that Andrade is taking this time off as an opportunity to reconnect with his roots. Despite his suspension, Andrade retained the United States Championship against Humberto Carrillo on the Royal Rumble kickoff, and many fans have been wondering why El Idolo won. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer gave his explanation on the situation, saying that the finish for the match had already been planned and that the writing team did not know Andrade's test had failed until after the match. He said, "Vince may have known and Paul Levesque may have known on Sunday, but literally nobody else. The writing team would not have known until Monday. This was done at that point. They didn't know on Sunday." We'll have to see how Andrade's US title reign goes from here, as he has some pretty powerful supporters backstage, including his fiancée Charlotte, and though many top stars have been suspended in the past, such as Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and Roman Reigns, they were able to return without missing a beat. Speaking of Mysterio, the masked superstar has had a truly epic career, but at 45 years old and several injuries to his name, it's no secret that Rey's career is coming to an end. In an interview with BT Sport, the Ultimate Underdog gave some high praise to fellow Raw star Ricochet, and even described the former US champion as the next Rey Mysterio. Having a career similar to Mysterio would be a great thing for Ricochet, who is also a former NXT North American champion, and at 31, Ricochet has plenty of years left in his career. Now, Ronda Rousey may have been gone from WWE for almost a year now, but the former Raw Women's Champion is still a huge star wherever she goes. Appearing on Corey Graves after the Bell podcast, the baddest woman on the planet was quick to praise the women's roster, and unsurprisingly gave praise to her fellow MMA horsewoman Shayna Baszler, whom she said played a pivotal role in getting herself, Jessamyn Duke, and Marina Shafir into wrestling. Rousey also praised new NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley, saying that she'd love to wrestle her one day, and even said she wants to see Charlotte Flair take on the Australian at WrestleMania, as fans have already seen Flair take on both Bayley and Becky Lynch. One person who was clearly listening to the interview was Ripley herself, who took to Twitter to say she'd be down to face either the Hot Rod or the Queen if the opportunity arises. If WWE wants NXT to be seen as an actual third brand, then having Flair challenge Ripley could definitely be the right call, as well as give fans a match they've never seen before on the grandest stage of them all. Remaining in NXT now, and this week's show saw a huge statement made by Tommaso Ciampa, who signed the contract to make his NXT title match at TakeOver Portland official. On the show, Ciampa took out the entire Undisputed Era, except for Adam Cole, backstage before the pair brawled in the ring, culminating in Ciampa putting the champion through a table with a powerbomb. Adding an emphatic statement on top of that, Ciampa would go on to sign the contract in his own blood, in what has become an interesting trend as of late. Fans will recall that the go-home SmackDown for the Royal Rumble also saw The Fiend sign his title match against Daniel Bryan in his own blood. As though WWE's a PG product, they do seem to be pushing the limits. One man who knows all about pushing the limits on TV is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and though fans have clamored for an in-ring return of the Texas Rattlesnake, it won't be happening anytime soon. After Edge's shocking return at the Royal Rumble, Austin spoke on his Steve Austin Show podcast, and though he was very happy for the Rated R superstar, he explained that he wasn't inspired to return as well. He said, "Basically, you're asking me, based on Edge's return, would I consider making a return? No, whatever Edge is doing has nothing to do with me." He replied, "I'm done. I've already said I'm done." Austin would go on to say that he wants Edge to be careful in the ring after nearly a decade away, and though Edge's new contract will earn him a huge paycheck for just a handful of matches a year, the Bionic Redneck just isn't going for it. We've spoken a lot about WWE today, but we've got some AEW news now, as a few matches have been announced for next week's Dynamite. On the show, Jon Moxley will face the Inner Circle's Ortiz, while Britt Baker will face Yuka Sakazaki. In 8-man tag action, the Lucha Bros and Butcher and the Blade will face the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Adam Page, while Cody Rhodes will take 10 lashes from MJF ahead of their huge match at AEW's next pay-per-view, Revolution. Back to WWE now, and we at SlatRock would like to send our congratulations to the Bella twins, as both Nikki and Brie have revealed that they are pregnant. In an interview with People magazine, Brie said that despite what others may believe, this good timing wasn't planned, as she and Daniel Bryan will be expecting their second child after the birth of daughter Birdie in 2017. For Nikki, this will be her first child with her fiancé Artem Chigvintsev of Dancing with the Stars, and fans will recall that it was the topic of having children that caused a serious rift in the relationship between Nikki and her ex John Cena. The pair of retired superstars will have their pregnancies be documented on the upcoming season of Total Bellas on E! And once again, we'd like to send our congratulations to both Brie and Nikki, as well as their respective partners. While Brie and Nikki can expect life to get a whole lot busier as they start this new chapter in their lives, it seems the opposite is happening in WWE. Soon, superstars will have more time at home, as the company has decided to cut back on the number of live events they run each month. Before, superstars from Raw and SmackDown were wrestling 4 shows or even more a week, with Raw stars competing on Mondays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, while SmackDown stars appeared on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In February, though, superstars on both brands will work a maximum of 10 shows throughout the month, and in March, the number of shows for a superstar will be 14. It's believed that this extra time off will give the roster time to heal nagging injuries and spend time with their families, as the majority of WWE money is made from their TV deals and the Saudi Arabia contract. Though WWE is a money-making machine, it's good to see the company think about their superstars' health and well-being in giving them this vital time off. And finally, we're ending today with the Wednesday Night Wars, as NXT gave a huge show following the Royal Rumble. In addition to Tommaso Ciampa's one-man war on the Undisputed Era that we mentioned earlier, Finn Balor defeated Trent Seven in the opener, while Shotzi Blackheart picked up a big win over Deonna Purrazzo. Up next, Dominik Dijakovic defeated Damian Priest, and as NXT North American Champion Keith Lee looked on, the Limitless One may have found his first challenger. After Ciampa's contract signing, Tegan Nox finally got her revenge on Dakota Kai thanks to an assist by Candice LeRae, and Kaden Carter defeated Chelsea Green. The main event saw the Broserweights defeat the Grizzled Young Veterans to add their name to the Dusty Cup trophy. At the same time, in All Elite Wrestling, the show had filmed a couple of matches for AEW Dark, which saw the Jurassic Express defeat Sonny Kiss and Brandon Cutler. With the Dark match out of the way, it was time for Jon Moxley to open the show with a threat to Chris Jericho, while the Young Bucks got the first win of the night by defeating the Butcher and the Blade. In women's division action, Nyla Rose got the big win over Big Swole, while Cody Rhodes built momentum to his Revolution match against MJF with a victory over Kip Sabian. After an interview segment saw Britt Baker call Jim Ross a sloppy barbecue sauce salesman, SoCal Uncensored appeared in the ring wearing Lakers jerseys in a touching tribute to the late Kobe Bryant. Bouncing back from losing the AEW Tag Team titles last week, the SCU were able to defeat the Hybrid 2, and in the main event, the Inner Circle, represented by AEW World Champion Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz, were able to defeat Darby Allin in Private Party, with Le Champion sending a message back to Jon Moxley before the pair cross paths next month at AEW Revolution.